Welcome to Triple T Thursday. I am Shelly, your host today. I am joined by a friend of mine, friend to the channel, friend in general. Everyone give it up for Michael Kinney.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much, Shelly, for having me.
Of course. It's for the people who don't know who you are. Do you want to hit them with who you are?
Yeah, sure. Hey, I'm Michael Kinney. I run a channel on YouTube called Mac Video Magic. Used to be my name, Michael Kinney, where I do Mac tutorials specifically for iMovie Keynote, QuickTime Player, and I show you how to use the free apps, video apps that come with the Mac to make great videos. And that's basically what I do on YouTube.
Awesome. Now, if you know, when you tune in every Thursday, we have a very important question that we ask not only of all of our guests, if we have any, which it has been a long time since we've had a guest. So kudos to me, first of all, for finding the right buttons, because sometimes my scenes are messed up. So I was just real proud of myself there for a second that I didn't pop off screen. But the important question, do you know what the question is?
What's in my cup? Is that the question?
That is correct, everyone. What is in your cup? But we'll start with you, Michael. What's in your cup today?
I am sporting a lovely dry cider. I'm looking over at the can right now. Batch 1904. It is a lovely cider.
Show us the good stuff.
Here's the can.
Show us.
Here's the product placement here.
Nice. We're not even paying them.
It's a very nice dry cider. I enjoy a cider.
You know what? I do too. Much prefer it over any kind of beer. I don't do that. Today in my cup is sparkling ice cherry limeade. My husband did this thing where usually we do Amazon delivery of strawberry lemonade or some other flavor. And he decided that this month we should do like a variety pack, but there's only like a couple of flavors in there that I like. I'm complaining about nothing. All right. So we're going to get into some topics
the best
today.
Stuff to complain about.
I know, right? I'm hearing myself and I'm like, this is such a first world problem, but I can't even take myself serious. I'm just going to stop. I just got to stop. Okay. So everyone else out there, drop what you are drinking in the comments below. And if you have questions, make sure you drop them. But I saw our friend Meredith Marsh in the chat as well. She's, yes, right?
Hi, Meredith.
Hey, Meredith. Hey, girl. Hey. And she also does tutorial-based content. And I think she's a great person to also bring into the conversation. So Meredith, please type away. But we are talking today, are tutorial channels dead on YouTube?
Oh no.
Dun, dun, dun. I know.
Dead man walking.
I know. And I feel like this has been a question not only in our genre, the rise and fall, I feel, of the beauty creator, the rise and fall of the YouTube guru, because I feel like a lot of the YouTube people have stopped doing it as much too, because COVID had a lot of channels pop up and then all of a sudden they stopped because everyone's returned to office and returned to life. And it's across lots of different genres as well. But let me start with you. We are both tutorial-based channels. And what got you onto YouTube in the first place and specifically making tutorial-based content?
Well, I started actually my television career. I worked in television for 20 years. And I started in educational television way back when. I started in science documentaries and then into educational content and kids content. But so I did a show called Inquiring Minds a long time ago up here in Canada. And we basically explained how the world worked. You know, why is the sky blue? All that kind of stuff. And it was very successful, relatively speaking. It was sold around the world. So I sort of had this sort of knack for explaining things. And I enjoyed learning new things and explaining to folks. But I was also very much into video technology. So I became an independent videographer and editor in the early 2000s. So I was editing TV shows, broadcast television shows on Final Cut Pro on a laptop. Back then I think it was the aluminum, or was it the titanium? I can't remember which metal it was. But so I was always into video tech and being sort of an independent video creator. And so I did that for years. And then I always had an eye on YouTube and social media, but I kept working as a freelancer in the industry. And then finally I decided, hey, you know what? I want start sharing some of my knowledge and things I find out about the great tools that come for free on a Mac to help people make videos. Because for me, as a guy who came from editing with tape way back when, and then stuff like Avid and things like that, even the stuff we had working in like the mid 90s, the late 90s wasn't as sophisticated as iMovie is today. So I looked at it and went, wait a second, this can do all these different things that I used to do. There's a lot under the hood here, and I'm excited to discover it and then excited to share. So I started in 2017, my channel, Michael Kinney, started doing different tutorials, kind of figuring out there wasn't really much of a niche. I was kind of doing different things, different software, but I was always interested in the tools for creating video. And so I did different tutorials, and then stuff around iMovie and QuickTime Player and Keynote started to take off. And I thought, okay. And I started to lean into that. And so here I am. It's going on 7 years I've been on YouTube. And here I am on a dying educational channel, as you put it.
I didn't say that. I
I'm
posed
just
the
kidding.
question. Now, I throw myself in there because, I started, well, even way back before I started doing tutorials, I was doing some beauty box unboxings. And then I got really interested in telling and showing, how do we set up our cameras, or how do we do some lighting, or how do we do some of the video editing stuff that we're doing? Because I felt like there's always this need for, hey, you want this finished product, but there wasn't a lot of teaching sometimes how you get there. And so there was this huge chasm in between, and a lot of people were frustrated. And not only that, but like I felt there wasn't enough like females sometimes teaching and not talking down to people, like some people tend to do. And so I really wanted to then help creators create more. And so I kind of fell into some of these tutorials and some of my iMovie tutorials, and it was a slow burn. Some of them were 3 or 4 months later, they started really taking off. So I went full force on some of these iMovie tutorials for a long time. And then I think I might have gone too far and pigeonholed myself as the YouTube subscribe animation girl for the button that I made in Keynote. And I remember a bunch of live streams and stuff I did. I'm like, I'm so much more than a subscribe button. I want to help people. But I had a really hard time. And so I pivoted away and I privated and shut down all of those tutorials. And I thought about pivoting away. So that brings me to, I want to ask you, you had your channel, you had originally set it up with your name, and then you pivoted maybe in this last year to Mac Video Magic. And I want to know why you decided to kind of divorce your name from your branding and kind of come out with what you did.
Yeah, well, that's a decision I'd been thinking about for a long time. I actually had the Mac Video Magic name and the domain for at least 3 years. And I was kind of using it as my contact email for the channel. And so I think for me, what happened was, like you, I struggled. It was sort of, am I it? I had that, everyone has that pivot video, a lot of creative. If you've been in it long enough, you've made that pivot video where you come out to your
You come out and say,
subscribers, viewers,
guys, I'm
and
not
you
this
say, "Listen,
anymore.
I can't do this anymore.
I can't.
I'm changing because I can do much more than I'm doing, and
I'm
please
so
stay
much
with
more
me."
than a subscribe button.
Yeah, exactly. I can do more than iMovie tutorials, much more than that. Please stay with me as I go in a new direction. Yeah, that video stayed up only for a few weeks. So what happened was, and I struggled, and it really affected my productivity. I'd be gone for months and show up, and people are like, "Hey, what happened to you?" And I guess I had to commit. That was it. I had to step back and look at the channel and say, what are you about? Never mind what you think you are. What are you good at? What value are you delivering to people? And so I had to make this mindset shift and find joy in the process of what I'm sharing, and find joy in creating the content like I used to do in television. Because I had to sit back for like at least 2 weeks and, really go through my thoughts and think, what am I doing? Should I even be on YouTube anymore? And I thought back to my broadcast days. And at one point in the early 90s, I worked on a show, literally, about garbage. Seriously. We went to landfill sites, we went to recycling plants, the sewage treatment plant, did all these stories on recycling and stuff like that, because that was the big thing in the early 90s. And I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it wasn't so much the content per se, but the process of making the content. That's what I enjoyed. And it was getting back to that. It's like, what do you really enjoy? I enjoy making the content. And I do enjoy what I talk about. I do enjoy discovering new things and new capabilities in these softwares that I talk about. But I enjoy crafting a video and putting it out there and helping people. And it was one of those things where you had to admit, this is what I do. So I either have to get out of this or I have to commit, like commit 100%. So I said, I'm committing 100%. Mac Video Magic, that's what this channel is about. So Michael Kinney, you can step aside. Let's get the brand out front. Let's get the value out front. Let's not have people come around and search and go, what? Okay, what's this? Who's this guy? What does this have to do with? And have that confusion, that brand confusion. Just show them right away. This is what I'm about. I did that. I made a channel trailer where I basically said what the channel's about and why I did the channel. That was very instructive for me as a creator, because it sort of said, okay, this is my motivation. This is my mission statement. I highly suggest other creators make a channel trailer. It really sort of crystallizes your thoughts and your reason for what you're doing. So I did that and leaned in, and I thought, okay, I really narrowed my path now. Right? I've narrowed my genre. What am I going to do? And it turned out to be the opposite. I actually started coming up with more ideas because I was focused now and committed to the mission of the brand and the channel. And it was actually very liberating. And I get comments from people, oh, I love the name of your channel. And people are now saying, oh, can you do some Final Cut Pro tutorials too? And some DaVinci Resolve runs on Mac. That's Mac software. You can do that too. It's in the name. Someone said that. It's in the name, Mac Video Magic. And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess I can expand. So all of a sudden now I start seeing the possibilities. But I had to commit and just jump in and say, okay, this is what I am. This is what I'm doing. Yes, I love to do all these other things. But, those other things I'll have to find other places to do that. So that's the story of how Mac Video Magic came to be.
Oh, it's amazing when you said words like commit. I've not been able to do that. So yeah, there have been many a pivot on my channel. It's so hard. And yeah, I had made that I'm pivoting video, and I tried real hard for a long time to distance myself from everything that was iMovie related, because I started to grow resentful of it, of the people. And like, you could have a video with 250,000 views on it and not get subscribers. You could have and not only that, it wasn't like we had something where it was they could buy anything.
Yeah.
It's not a software that you can get an affiliate link off of. It's just, let me show you how to do this thing. And I felt, one, a little bit trapped because all I could talk about was, let's say, iMovie. And I don't necessarily recommend that of like tying yourself to one software, because if that software goes away, like Daniel Batal, when he was doing all of those DaVinci Resolves, remember? Then all of a sudden the license changed, and then he's like, fighting for his life, fighting against them. That was crazy. And then something like a Mac Video Magic, which is everything based on Apple, and that makes sense because you have some more freedom. I think I went wrong with going so super specific with one software, having it be a free software, and then me trying to be like, well, there's only so many movies or like videos I can make about iMovie. One, I feel like I was held hostage by it as well. I was like, I can't make anything else. Nobody will watch anything else on my channel. I can't get them to not only that, but care about me. And I felt really disheartened as not being ever a destination channel, only like that was going to show up in browse and suggested. It was always going to be a search-based channel that was going to be one of many, one of a sea of, and maybe they might find that some of them were pretty helpful, but it was really about who could get me the information fastest or the best. And then they were out and they didn't really seem to care about me. And so I struggled a really long time with being a tutorial channel that was only focused on like kind of one thing. And I don't know if you ever felt that, because you also said that, I felt pretty liberated by being able to have all these other things, but I felt so constricted that I'm just like, I can't do it anymore. I got to shed all this. Like, no.
Oh yeah, no, I went through all those stages, the resentment, the, I'm better than this, I'm bigger than this, all that stuff. Went through all of it. And yeah, it was rough. It was rough. But I think what helped me a lot to commit were my viewers and my subscribers who left comments. And one comment they said was, "You're an amazing teacher." One person said, "Listen, I don't even use this software, but I watch your tutorial because I enjoy just learning from you." And that's when I went, wait a second. So it's more than just the content per se. It's my teaching, the experience I bring as a creator with the content, which then went, okay, you see, Mike, yeah, the content is important, but it's the experience you're creating through the content. And that's when I went, okay, stop being so worried about, this is what I'm more than this and that kind of thing. You're doing what people want. You just don't see that value right away. And
So
then
you
once I
evolved
made
to
that,
a higher level human than I am.
well,
I was just mad.
yeah, I was mad too. But it was one of those things, Shelly, you get to that point where it's like, okay, I'm either like out the door or I'm going to, make a decision here, because I can't keep going back and forth. I can't keep going through those stages of resentment and depression. And what am I doing? Like, I got to just go. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But at least you're committed to doing something. And so far it's been pretty good. I've really enjoyed my channel now, and it's really interesting having a channel that has a brand name. I feel like I actually work for a company. Like Mac Video Magic is a brand. Hey, I'm Mike from Mac Video Magic. And it just felt different. It's like, oh yeah, okay. I'm working at something here. I'm building something here, as opposed to just, my personal brand, but I'm building a brand on YouTube that, is trying to gain traction with folks. And being an educational channel, which is basically a utility channel, meaning people come, get what you want, get what they want, and leave, is kind of tough. But I try to bring some kind of personality to what I do, not just give like, here's the straight goods. I used to just do a lot of voiceover and not show my face, maybe for the intro and the outro. But now it's like, no, I want to brand this thing. So I'm going to be in the tutorial for the whole thing. And you're going to hear my snide remarks and asides about stuff I'm talking about, just to make it more human and add a bit of my personality to, this technical stuff. And it seems to have, worked. And so, yeah, I get it, the frustration and stuff like that. But I just needed to make a decision.
I think with the rise of AI, there is something that's nice about the rise of human, whether that's you on screen more. And I will say you're very good at tutorials. I remember we were just talking beforehand, and I was saying we both made a video on the very same type of subject. And I was like, oh, yours was way better than mine. Mine was, it was way better than mine.
Stop it.
No, continue. No, it was much better than mine. But, and it was reflected in the views, I'm sure, because I'm sure I probably made it as some sort of like mad about it. And someone asked me, so I'll do it. But like, I don't want to. It was probably one of those moments too.
That actually would be an entertaining video if you came out like totally pissed off. All right, somebody asked.
I will say though that I always try and make it like I never really want to come off like angry or stupid for asking the question. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna teach it to you. But the thing that really gets me is when you. But this is just in life in general too. When you do what they ask, and then they obviously don't watch it because they complain about something that's obviously like addressed and fixed in the video. Yes. And I'm like, oh, so you ran straight to the comments section to run your mouth and your fingertips, but you didn't actually just use your eyeballs to look at the screen.
I call those the classroom moments. Yeah. When I get the comment, hey, why didn't this thing work this way and this other? You said, I said, did you watch the whole video? Did you go back?
No, I got a comment today. It was like, it didn't work. And I'm like, that is so not enough information to tell me at what point in the process you went wrong.
Yeah, and I put the timestamp in the comments. You may want to check here at 1 minute 32 seconds. And they come back, oh, sorry, yeah, I didn't watch the whole video. I kind of went through it fast. That's okay.
There's that too.
That's okay. I understand.
So one of the problems one of the many problems with me and my channel has been that I, unlike you, have not been able to commit. And it's been reflective in my content. It's been reflected in the topics that I've chosen to cover over the years. And so I see Tech for Your Needs here asking me, how do I define my channel these days? I classify it as a mess where heat has been applied. So it's one of those where it's a learning, teachable moment where you can do everything wrong on a YouTube channel, but yet still persist. And that's how I classify my channel.
I think Shelly, I have to disagree. I don't think you're not committed. I think you're very committed. You show up every Thursday.
Be careful now. You're saying nice things to me.
You show up every Thursday practically, and you talk to folks. Hey, that's not nothing. And I tell you, a lot of it's just showing up. It really is. I get the comments about people, asking, how do you, I want to be, I want to grow my channels. I don't know why they're asking me these YouTube guru questions, but whatever. I'll give you my advice.
Because you have a successful channel.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. One thing I'd say is, one of the things when I played sports, I was a competitive athlete in different sports. And one of the common things that a coach would tell you, you got to keep moving. You got to keep moving your feet. You got to keep moving, because that's when opportunities happen. If you're not moving, you're not going to be there to intercept an opportunity. So part of moving on YouTube is showing up, right? And I think that's a big part of the commitment. That's the big hurdle for a lot of people. Sure, we can talk about content strategy and is it focused or not, but you can fix that stuff. That's not a heavy lift as showing up each time every week, putting out that content, interacting with your viewers, doing all that stuff. And I think people, particularly people who start YouTube, underestimate that commitment of showing up consistently, because honestly, it's so much of the game.
It is. Do you know what that is? It says, I am here for the mess. Oh, are you ready for this? I warned you. I said, we barely ever get super chats, but in the event that we do, all right, we will have to boogie. So let me pull up the music list here. You get to choose your song that you get to boogie to.
I get to choose. I'm not down with the contemporary music of the youngins today.
Oh, no, I just read you some titles and you pick one. So actually, you know what? I'm going to do this one. I'm going to get funky jams. You ready?
Okay.
Let's do it.
Oh, yeah. Feeling this. Looking back to my childhood of the 70s. Back when I had a fro. Super chat.
I know you got more than that.
Got more what? What do you want?
Bravo.
I've got a lot of room here to work.
Bravo. Everybody give me a hand.
Into my breakdancing from back in the day. That would be too embarrassing.
Okay, I'm going to bring you back on screen here in about 5 seconds here. I got to do my little super chat animation. You'll be back in 5 seconds. Ready? Here we go. Thank you so much for the super chat. We got a, oh, you want to know something?
Super chat is a whole event on Shelly's channel.
Because it happens so rarely. It's so rare. We have to make it something. That little animation, by the way, keynote.
Yeah, for sure.
I know, because like a lot of my tutorials before are like, I always said the magic was in Keynote, because especially when in iMovie, because everything is so limiting. I was always like, Keynote, you want to do something? You want to set something on fire? Keynote. So people didn't believe me, so I had to make 5 tutorials about it. But anyways, Keynote.
Yep. For sure.
For sure. Okay, so where were we right before we got so not so rudely interrupted by the super chat? Goodness.
Yeah, so incredibly excited. Super chat threw us right off the rails.
I know, right? It really did.
I think we're talking about commitment. I think I was out doing my whole soapbox.
Oh, you were being really nice to me. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And how, you are committed. You're showing up. And, the other stuff will come as you sort of figure out what's happening. But maybe, Shelly, this is your thing. I mean, who knows? Right? I mean,
that's always correct. Who knows?
You just got to keep moving.
So one thing that I tried to do in being a tutorial channel is I wanted to go hard for a little while after this expertise that I had. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm the iMovie girl. So I went real hard, made iMovie tutorials, and then I eventually tried to make a course and sell a course. It didn't go very well. It kind of crashed and burned, didn't sell a lot of units. And so I was trying really hard to find something that was going to make me money in this niche that's sometimes educational in free software without affiliate stuff. There wasn't a lot of money to be made. So I wonder, what were some things that you might have tried to do to make some money when you weren't doing tutorials as well? You're still doing that, but
Well, not a big source, but another source was consulting. I would get a lot of requests from folks. I think a few months ago, I helped somebody with their studio, and it was technical stuff. And it wasn't anything to do about iMovie or Keynote. It was, hey, I like your videos. Can you show me how to make nice videos? This is my setup and I'm having some issues. Can you help me like find the right equipment and stuff like that? It's like, sure. So this is what I mean
see, I
about,
love when you were like, I'm not a YouTube guru, and people are paying you money for helping them with video stuff. So
well,
that kind of classifies you as.
well, I was in television for 25 years, so I know a
We
thing
can
or
call
two
it
about,
YouTube guru adjacent, but you're still.
yeah, sure.
It's all
Whatever.
about geography, Michael. You're doing it. You're doing the same
Oh,
thing.
no. Okay. But I don't talk specifically about YouTube strategy and stuff like that. I can only talk about what I do on my channel. And I can't even say that that's really, I mean, it's working to a certain degree, but I don't know what is success. You have to define that for yourself. But
Oh my gosh, I have totally said that before about YouTube because there are so many end lines and finish goals, and you never know. That was completely backward. End lines and finish. You know what I'm saying.
end lines and finish
End lines and
goals.
finish goals. You know what I meant. Wow. The dyslexia
Sure.
really is coming for my ass today. So I was saying that like sometimes you really have to define what success looks like for you. Is it maybe making a course? Is it doing some coaching and consulting, which also goes into where I always talk about revenue pie, having lots of slices, because sometimes you can't rely on things like ad revenue. And so that leads us into a topic around, I know Meredith, our friend in the chat, has also experienced this. There's at least 150 people on the running
Yep.
document online that I've seen alluded to, and and so if you don't know what I'm referring to, it's the invalid traffic bug. You know, the quote unquote.
Don't say that. They
they're
don't
saying
like
is,
that.
I know they don't like it. It's not a bug; it's a feature. But it's also it's a tough and contentious topic to talk about right now because it's like they know, but they're also saying that it's not necessarily wrong, you know, because they're like, well, maybe you've been getting paid too much for all this time, you know, and like we also didn't get the money, like it got taken away from us too because we don't get to get paid either. So a lot of channels have seen their ad revenue go from, you know, sometimes 50% less, 80% less, or even more. And I joked that I actually don't make enough each month to get paid in AdSense anymore. It's like I started all over again at the very beginning. And so for me, there wasn't much lower that it could go. But for you, I heard you say that you had dropped by 50%. You want to talk a little bit about your experience with this?
Oh, sure. Actually, for those of you who are in the chat and don't know Meredith put out a video today
Oh,
talking
today I
about her
didn't see it.
experience. Oh, yeah. It was great. She had the receipts. It was great.
All
So
right, I'm gonna have
Meredith,
to go
good
see
job
that.
on that video. It was very good. But yeah, same experience. And so all of a sudden, my revenue drops by half. It's like, what's going on? Now, I knew when this happened, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Because I know I've heard about this been going on for
Yeah.
months. And I'm like, what? So I had to make the obligatory chat with support to see because I saw what other people were hearing from support. And I thought, well, I get the same story.
Do I get the same canned response?
Yeah. And I got something interesting that basically said, well, this invalid traffic isn't necessary. It doesn't mean it's your fault. I thought, oh, really? It just means that we're detecting traffic that's not, quote, interacting genuinely with the ads. Okay. I mean, what they mean is people are playing videos and the ads are in the corner, no one's watching them. And so, you know, that's considered, oh, someone's, you know, they're telling advertisers someone saw your ad, but they didn't really see it. So everyone has their version of what's going on. I have mine. And I think this is just what's happening now. Hopefully it's just a big correction that's going on where the genuine interaction with ads is sort of being defined now, and there's some sort of cleanup going on. Now, you also know about November. They announced they have this new features coming out for monetization where you don't have to worry about ads. We'll worry about it for you to extend, I quote, best practices and increase revenue for creators. Extend best practices. What does that mean exactly? Anyway,
I'm
not
so
again.
sorry. I'm so sorry. It's because you're here. It's because you're here. They're so tired of seeing me dance. They're so like thirsty out there for a new person to dance.
Oh, my
I'm not mad about
goodness.
it. Oh, you're
not-
going to have to dance twice.
That's fine. I'm just not taking anything off, Shelly, okay? That's
I
not
didn't.
what I'm-
You take it
just-
up with
I'm just
Marcus and
telling you.
Chantel. You take it up with them.
Yeah.
Hold on here. 1 second here. And
Gotta take another drink.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Let me see what happens also if I throw on the little to just me. Can't have that. We got to have us both on screen. Here we go. I'm going to make sure that we're both widescreen here, and I'm going to give us.
Oh boy, I'm afraid.
I know, me too.
Afraid.
I know, me too. How about this one?
Afraid.
I don't know. 3, 2, 1.
Oh. This is kind of like old school hip hop. I don't know. I'm not feeling this one, Shelly.
Okay, wait. How about this one? No, wait. We've done that one. We've done that one.
Okay.
What about? Wait. What about this one? Give it a second. It's gonna get there.
Okay, now they're just doing this on purpose.
This is all because of you.
It sounds like the last one. Shelly, I gotta talk to you about your selection here. This is.
I don't need your attitude, Michael.
That's a little better. No more super. Well, you can bring more super chats. I mean, this is helping Shelly, so I'm taking some for the team here, big time.
Here we go. It's like the 80s. You're in the club.
Yeah,
Don't get mad about it. It's
a
good.
little freestyle.
It's good stuff.
80s.
You know you want to.
Sure. Yeah. Hey, what's your name?
You ready for this?
Brutal. Oh, Shelly, you're much better than me.
I'm
Oh, my
so
goodness.
sorry. You chose the wrong night to come on.
Wow.
Actually, they're only doing that because of you, though. So
I have to rethink this.
you know that you're the one who invited
didn't
yourself on.
I know I invited myself on.
So
No, it was
you
more
get
like,
what you
hey,
get. And you
listen.
can't get upset.
I said, hey, listen, if you're looking for a guest, you want.
You knew what you were doing. I was like, oh, you asked me just a few hours before. I was like, well, technically it's tonight. So what you doing in a couple hours?
Okay.
You're like, who, me? What? What time?
Me? Really?
I mean,
I don't know if I can
okay,
make it. I was
maybe.
15 minutes early for the tech check. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Too thirsty, Mike. Too thirsty.
No, you're good.
What were we talking about before that?
What were we talking? Invalid traffic.
Oh, yes. Yeah. We go from
And
the dance
dun
to
dun dun.
invalid traffic, the scourge of YouTube.
The scourge.
Yeah. So anyway, I have my theories. Like I said, Meredith's video is excellent. She goes in great detail.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very
Look at that.
discouraging. Very
Oh my gosh, for
discouraging.
sure. This reminds me
And,
of like the reaction that happened, remember, not from the first adpocalypse, but from Elsagate, when all of that, the child stuff went. There were channels that had entire teams. They lost 90% of their revenue. They had to let go of their entire staff. I mean, it was bad. And I remember there was one channel where they read books, and I think their audience was mainly it was like books for special people, something like that. And so they would read books, and so they had their comment section taken away, which happens on a lot of children's channels, and they couldn't interact with anyone. I think they had like millions, and they were devastated, like a lot of interaction and being able, they couldn't, and they were cut off. And not only that, but then their revenue got cut. So I think they ended up letting go of a lot of their team,
Yeah.
which is tough.
Daniel Patel has got a thread going
I
on
saw.
Twitter/X, and you know, it's good to see heavy hitters like Daniel getting involved, you know, to sort of elevate the voice and the concern of this issue. And I
I will
think
say
the thing
too,
that's
one thing, and I'm going to let you come back to that.
yeah,
And yes, absolutely. They know there's only so much they could probably say or talk about. And I think one thing that
yeah,
really bothers me though is the people who like personally attacked people like Renee, you know, because the YouTube liaison, because it's like he's there to make sure that there are issues being communicated between creators to the bigwigs, but he has delivered that message. So him getting continually like
yeah,
berated for
and
that kind
yeah,
of stuff, people, I'm like, you're mad at the wrong person. That's like your messenger. You're asking your messenger to go and relay these problems, of which he is doing. He's definitely doing that. They're having these conversations, but then you guys are like attacking him personally. And that I could not stand for. I was just like, that is not okay, because he cares so much and everyone's trying to make it out to seem like he doesn't care or he's not listening. And I'm like, he's listening. He's
yeah.
asking the
I mean,
questions. He's
he
talking.
can only do so much.
Exactly.
I see a comment. I'm actually realized here's the comments. I can read some of the comments. You don't mind if I respond to a comment,
Please,
do
please,
you?
please. Tell me which one. I'll put it on
Yes.
screen.
So Marcus Schaub, never put all your eggs in one basket.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's one, you know, which makes sense. But the problem is there's really no 100%, you know, tried and true basket out there. Like every platform has the potential to like just rip the rug from under you.
What happened to
Look at
Vine?
look what happened with Patreon,
Look what
right?
happened. Oh yeah, absolutely. Every single
Right?
one of these platforms has sometimes had like horrible like things like that, or like TikTok, or I mean, like there's been a ton of different platforms and a lot of like Beam, and you know, like there's just been a ton of these different sites where you really have to never rely on anyone, absolutely. But it is devastating when you do have something like a, not a reliance, but like you come to understand that you think you're doing all the things right. And I think the lack of opacity with, or
Yeah.
transparency for what is causing it. Which video is it? Like, how do I make sure that I'm not doing anything? Because if I make sure that third parties can't do ads on my videos, you know, what else? If I don't tell people this is a fundraiser, please click on my ads. If I don't ask my friends to play the videos in the background, if I'm doing all these things and I don't know where it's coming from, and you can't tell me which video or what source it's coming from, then it feels a little bit like some of the YouTube creators are feeling helpless, because
Yeah,
they're like,
it's
I
the
don't know what
lack
else to
of
do.
transparency. It's the lack of transparency, and some of the stuff. Again, I referenced Meredith's video where she shows in the transcript with YouTube support where they basically accuse her of, you know, these invalid traffic tactics. It's like, well, you know, and tell your viewers not to do that. And it's like, and she mentions, it's like, wait a second, okay, I'm getting penalized for the traffic that YouTube is bringing to my videos, right? Because you look at traffic sources and it's like search, suggested. Okay, how do I deal with that? And I think we're just at a situation now where I think people now, it's, you know, venting, properly venting. And I think there's nothing really we can do but keep talking about it. I've heard some creators, it's come back after a few months and
I
stuff like
have
that.
seen
Some
that.
people up and
Yeah.
down. And so I don't know. I don't know. But here's the thing, Shelly, this really made me angry and frustrated. And usually, you know, your instinct is when you get punched in the face is to sort of back up, right? Or retreat. And I thought, you know what? No, I'm going to turn around and come full the other way. So I'm still making my content. I'm actually making more content. And I'm hopeful that things will change. Because aside from the AdSense, which is great and everything, again, it's building a community. It's having products off the platform that you can, you know, refer people to, having other things like consulting or whatever, merch, membership, other things, right? You still need to build that audience. And I still think YouTube is one of the best places to build an audience. I mean, it's Google built into it. So you know what you would have to pay out on the internet streets to get that kind of marketing to get that kind of traffic, and that would be very expensive. So
Yeah, I do
it's
find
still
it a
very
little
valuable.
bit interesting for some creators too, who always want to complain about what YouTube doesn't do. And I'm like, let's also take inventory and stock of what YouTube does do. Do they
Hmm.
charge you to create an account? Nope. Do they
No.
charge you to actually make comments like you wouldn't be able to even access or see some videos like if you're on Patreon? Nope. Do they charge you for, being able to upload your own video?
Hosting?
Nope. Yeah. Do they
Nope.
charge you for any of this stuff? No.
Nope.
And so, like, someone has to
Yeah.
pay the server bill, right?
Hmm.
Someone has to pay the electricity. Someone has to pay for all this storage. And it's funny to me that if all of these people had to go out and then host their own videos and then, bring traffic hopefully to it, they might understand how much YouTube is paying. However, the transparency thing and it's tough. It is really tough.
Yeah.
But to the question at hand, as a tutorial-based channel,
Hmm.
how do you find in the landscape of YouTube? Because I have found that with tutorial based, maybe it's just me, but like I don't feel like those channels grow as fast because they're utilitarian in nature and not entertainment based as much personality as we have. I feel like we have a harder time growing. You have any thoughts on being a YouTube channel that focuses
Yeah.
on tutorials? Because we don't
Yeah.
always get a lot of views.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Tutorial channels, utility channels, whatever you want to call them, they're a different animal than entertainment channels, right? In terms of type. Entertainment channels usually get their big burst of traffic and excitement right off the bat. Another super chat. Another super chat. Wow.
I'm so sorry for you.
Sorry. Oh my goodness. Can we do something different?
I don't know. Can we? What would you like?
I don't know.
I don't even know what's in here, man. There's actually a song called Some New Tricks.
Oh, great. That sounds
no
promising.
Idea. You spoke too soon. I don't like it.
This is like late 90s, or sorry, late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah. I have a type.
Pump up the jam. Marcus Schaub, this is your dirty dealing. I see you in the comments, in the chat. Put in that super sticker. Just here. Anyway, thank you very much. Thank you on behalf of Shelly, everyone, for the super chats and contributing to the channel.
About the wallet, just that I bust out laughing at another super
Yes.
chat. Sad face,
Great.
basically. Oh, great.
I feel like I'm on Twitch now.
I know, right? It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. Okay, the next super chat that comes in, we'll just do the little animation that catches on fire.
Thank
Don't
you.
you worry,
I
okay?
appreciate it. See, and I was talking about something I thought was important, and then
Tutorial-based
utility
channels.
channels, yes.
It's a different beast.
So entertainment channels, they get their burst of traffic and excitement off the top, right, when they release a video. And then generally it kind of tapers off a bit in general, if you look at the graph. Utility channels is the opposite.
They have that slow burn.
I've found in my experience, the first, like when you release the video, you may get some, a few views, you hope. And then it kind of goes. But then like 3 months later, all of a sudden, it's like, why is this video like my biggest earner? And so you see that with a lot of videos as they make their way through search. And so when I look at my channel, I'm creating a library. And I really think of it as from an evergreen content point of view. So that's why I take time to really I don't rush my videos. I try to make them good quality so they have legs and they last. Because I have videos from 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I've got an editing, iMovie editing one, the Precision Editor, 500,000 views. And a lot of those views came like a year after I released the video. So that's usually what happens with educational utility channels. You have to think of it as building a library that people will come to later. So it has that longevity. It may not be exciting off the top, but it has that longevity versus like an entertainment channel or a current kind of events, trends channel.
Yeah, I say the same. It's kind of like a Philip DeFranco news video where you want to watch it within a week of it coming out because it's current events, whereas you're not going back 3 or 4 years to watch one of those older videos. But like one of my best performing videos is probably from 4 or 5 years ago. It still gets views because it's still about how to make an animated subscribe button.
And
And
it
that
still works.
doesn't
It's still
change.
valid. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
doesn't change. So I feel like it's interesting because over the lifetime of a channel and a video, you might get the same views. One just might take you 4 years to reach as the person who like then like hockey sticks down in views because, you know, it dies
Yeah.
after that.
But if you look at my stats, I'm not, trying to like, humble brag my numbers or anything.
He's flexing, guys. Get ready.
So I have over almost close to 5 million channel views on my channel with under 100 videos. You see a lot of people who have millions of channel views and they have 300 videos, 200 videos. And so what that tells me from an analytics point of view is longevity, is that the one video is getting views over a long period of time.
Yeah.
And this is something you'll see with educational channels. And I think for a lot of people who go into educational channels, because they're probably one of the easiest types of YouTube channels to start, sharing knowledge and stuff like that, people enjoy that, is you're going to be a little disappointed, right? You're going to look over at those other channels that are getting these crazy views and but you're playing the long game. And a lot of people don't have the patience to play the long game. And like I said before, besides the views and ads and stuff like that, it's the brand that you're building, the reputation that you're building. You're going to have people approaching you off the platform to consult, to do other things. I had somebody approach me on LinkedIn who had seen my YouTube channel and gave me an invitation to teach on a cruise ship for like 3 months. Fortunately, I couldn't do that.
I was gonna say, did you do that? Jeez.
No.
I was just on a cruise, and it was one of those Viking cruises, and they have resident historians on board that just give lectures about different things and the places that you go, and they live on board for free, and they eat all the food and do all the activities, and I'm like, that might not be such a bad retired person's life.
Yeah,
you travel around the world and see nice sights.
Exactly, but these are the opportunities that can present themselves if you're out there, keep moving, and you're making your content, right? Other things will happen. And so that's sort of my attitude, is being out there and making the content. And I enjoy making the content for people, and I just enjoy helping people. So I guess that's just one of my quirks.
No, I feel that too, because I've said this many times. My mom was a teacher, and so I kind of had it ingrained in me from a very young age about like teaching and that kind of thing. And I just always have taught stuff that I've learned, and it's just been from every job I've had, from everything. And I'm just not one of those people that likes to hold anything back, and I probably share too much, but I give it all away. I give it like everything. Like I will try and, do everything and then teach you everything I've learned. And I feel like sometimes it's a really tough position because a lot of the people will take everything that you've taught them, go far beyond and surpass. And sometimes it's difficult to also then be like, it's great for them, but then you feel a little not left behind, but also just kind of like, when does a utility channel, when does an educational channel, when do they get some recognition or thank you or something, that kind of like brings that kind of prestige up? When do I get invited to a carnival for 3 months on a cruise ship to teach, or those types of things sometimes can be the types of stuff that rattle around in your head too, because you see a lot of other people get all of these like rewards, and then you're like, oh, am I not making the right kind of content? Am I not actually doing the right thing? Does that ever come for you?
Yeah, but I don't compare my journey to other people's journey. I don't compare that. We all in different places in our journey in this whole thing. And your journey is different from mine. I would say you have much more experience than I do in a lot of aspects of YouTube. So everyone's journey is different. It's about figuring out where you want to be on your journey. And I don't compare myself. There's lots of other creators in my niche who are doing stuff who have millions of subscribers and things like that. And I look up to them for 2 reasons. One, they tell me there is a market here, right? A lot of people come into YouTube and it's like, I have this great original idea. No one else is doing it. It's going to be great. Stop right there. Because if no one
It's
else is
all
doing
been
it,
done.
if no one else is doing it, maybe you don't want to do it.
Maybe also no
Right?
one else
It's like,
wants it.
right. Do you want to put your restaurant out in the middle of nowhere on Highway 6? Or do you want to put your restaurant on the strip with the other restaurants who are similar to your restaurant, but different enough to provide a different experience for people, right? I think I want to put mine on the strip. So
See, I'm going to always go with it depends. If I have any channel members, hit it depends, because what if the theme of your restaurant was like a Route 66 out here, like road diner experience that you don't get, or like it's just different enough to like, I don't know, maybe I see. And that's the problem, Michael Kinney. That's why you're doing really well. You don't think like I do.
no, but there's a lot
I
of
was
people
like,
in my
maybe.
niche.
What's the road?
It tells me there's a market, and two, there's lots of content ideas there that I can take a different angle on. Like people get concerned. It's like, oh, well, someone already did a video on that. There's no good ideas anymore. Listen, there hasn't been an original idea for centuries.
No, everything
right?
is, recycled,
Everything
regurgitated,
is a
repackaged.
remix or a different angle or a different perspective. You know, one of the things I learned working in show business, I worked in drama for years, working on a narrative scripted series, and I wrote as a screenwriter for a bit of time. And one of the things I learned from executives, because I was the guy at first with the big ideas that no one had seen before, and they're like, no, Mike, here's what we want. Give us the same, but different. Give us the same, but different. And I'm like, what does that mean? I know what that means now, right? It's something that's familiar, but different enough that it's different. And so when I look at all these other channels in my niche who have, huge numbers, I go, great, there's a market in two, and I see videos. I go, oh, they did a video on this. Okay, that was good, but I have this perspective, or there's an angle they didn't really cover on this. Let me do that. And you think, well, people are not going to watch it. It's the same thing. No, that's what gets you into suggested, right? YouTube goes, oh, you like that video about that? Where there's another video here that's similar to that one, that's different, but it's similar. That's how you get into suggested, I discovered. So it's this whole concept called, I can't remember where I picked it up, called drafting. You know what drafting is? If
Yes.
you ever did bike racing,
Race cars and
So you just, the leader's going through all the energy and cutting through the wind and stuff like that. That's the big channels that are doing it. And so you go, I'm just going to scooch in behind here and just catch,
slingshot,
just draft.
Talladega Nights.
I'm just going to draft in here and just like find different angles on their stuff, right? And YouTube in the analytics has that great feature where it shows you the other channels that your viewers are watching and the other videos. That's priceless to see where you're landing in all of this. So, yeah. So, Shelly, I used to be, depressed and dejected. And then I just went, okay, what is it that you want out of this? And don't feel shame for borrowing, for getting help to do what you want to do, to do what you do.
So you're telling me
it's
I
the
need to
game,
grow
right?
up, Mike. That's rude. Slightly.
Shelly, no. I
Slightly
didn't say
rude.
that, Shelly. No, not at all.
Are you ready for a question from the audience?
There's a question?
There is
Okay,
a question.
sure.
I'm going to bring it up on screen here. It's from About That Wallet. It says, question, I try to give my audience what they want to hear. How do you use your stats to decide what you want to talk about?
So comments are a big one. I mean, you can see just how many comments you're getting quickly. I can tell how a video is doing by the comments and the likes pretty quickly if people are responding. But it's kind of like you have to feel out your content again, same but different. And if you think about the same but different, you realize, wait a second, it starts getting easier to find ideas because you're kind of just angling off of stuff you've already done. That's new. That people have watched and responded to. And what was that?
I said, but different.
But different. I
Different,
can't
just
say
a
it any
little.
better. Same
Right.
but different.
So Meredith Marshall, I just have to put this on here. She says, not going to lie, my iMovie tutorials are drafting off of Michael's.
See? Do you see? It's okay, Meredith. I consider that an honor. that you're drafting off of me. I'm a big fan. Big
You
fan
heard it
of
here
you.
first.
Stuff.
Not a problem. Draft
Big
away.
fan. Hey, well, like everyone else isn't doing everybody else. I mean, every time there's a trend, trend videos, it's like, or a review. Like, for example, Shure just released
Oh,
a
the new
new
SM7B.
version of this SM7DB. Basically, they put the cloud lifter in the microphone,
which is nice. Yeah.
which is basically what Beacon did 3 years ago. But anyway, how many, I go up in my feed, how many people are first looks, reviews, dozens and dozens. And you watch them. If you're interested, you'll watch and see how they covered it, how this person did it. Right? People are all doing the same stuff. But what's different is your perspective, your personality, and your voice and what you bring to it. That's what makes it different.
I see the same with like makeup tutorials. Like Natasha Denona is a makeup manufacturer. They put out a new palette. It's not different for other people that like put it on. It's the same palette, but everyone watches a different beauty person because they like the way they explain it. They like the way they do the swatches, or they talk about ingredients, or, you know, and you have to, and I've always talked about this before, a lot of the time with YouTube clients and whatnot, I say you either have to be first, or you have to be better, or you have to be different. And even better if you can be any combination of those, because, you know, something like that, it's the same for everyone. So you either are going to have to be like the person who goes into ingredient analysis, or the person who does 10 looks with the palette, or you're going to have to be something very, very different. Like I did my makeup underwater in a submarine, or hopefully not that one that blew. You know what I mean? Like it has to be different, because if you're going to come on these days, there's just so much mediocre that you'll just fall by the wayside. And so if you can't figure out, you know, what your end game is and what makes you uniquely special in you, it's going to be, oh no.
No. Yay, super chat.
Oh wait, I did say that we're going to do the one on fire. We're going to set stuff on fire. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, set something on fire. I'm going to take another.
Super fire for the super chat. Here we go. Pixelpia, thank you so much for your super chat. That was very, very nice. We appreciate that. Apparently I need to have guests or Michael on every week, because
it's the evening zoo with Shelly and Mike.
I don't know. Maybe. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine?
I'll put my radio voice on. Yeah.
Ooh,
hey everybody, welcome to the show.
I have a friend that has, oh, maybe I shouldn't say it, but they have a TikTok that is just like their voice. And it's so weird because they're actually very, very good looking person, but their whole thing is just like radio voice, like reads funny things type thing. And so no one actually knows what he looks like. And it's just kind of funny because I'm like, I know what he looks like. And like he could also do it with him being on screen, but that might take away some of the like mystique. But it's a whole other just different angle on it that he chose to go. So oh no.
It's raining. It's raining up in here.
It's raining tacos. Hold on. Let me.
It's raining super chats.
Let me see.
Making it rain in super chats here on
Let me see.
Shelly Saves the Day.
I like this one.
That's a perfect movie. Perfect music for making it rain. Oh, there's a question.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Shelly.
I'm so sorry.
Come on, there's a question with that super chat. Let's
you know
that
that happens if a squirrel. Okay, I'm sorry. Here we go. It says coming back on screen. I'm so sorry, Pia. It said, what is the #1 advice that you would give to an educational channel about video production? I have to hand it to you. This is definitely your realm of expertise because your videos always look crispy. So take it away if you have some advice.
Okay, so there's a few things. One of the things that I made a mistake on with a lot of my tutorials at the beginning was not just getting to the point and just giving people what they came for. I know it sounds like, wait a second, I want to do this and do that. It's like, find other ways to put your personality into things, but just get to the point, because that's what they're there for. And people are ruthless on YouTube. And I get in the comments, oh, you get the comments. Well, the video actually started at 2 minutes and 3 seconds. They leave a timestamp, stuff like that. So get to the point. Audio is very important, probably more important than video. Your audio needs to be clear and clean, especially when you're trying to learn stuff. It's so easy to get distracted. And when you're trying to focus, especially on a tutorial, and follow it, and the audio is bad, oh, it's the worst. People will just leave. So make sure your audio is really good. Invest in a good microphone. It's more important than the video. And so my third piece of advice, depending on the type of educational videos you make, one big mistake I see a lot of people make is they don't show enough detail. They don't show close-ups. They'll do a screen recording, full screen the whole time. And then they'll say, and over here in this little part here, in this little button in the corner, you can't see it. So it's hard to follow. You'll notice in my videos a lot, I zoom into details because I want people to see where things are. So show detail, great audio, and get to the point. Those are my 3 pieces of advice.
Excellent advice. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was excellent stuff. Okay. Anything that you really, really want to chat about and let the people know about? Do you have an email list? Do you have like some favorite? What's your favorite video you have on your YouTube channel? It may not be your most popular. What's your favorite
video? Oh boy, I don't know. I think some video. There's one video I did like in 2018. It's a while back. It was about using QuickTime Player to screen record and have your face as well in record your face with QuickTime Player and the screen. And the reason why it was one of my favorite videos is during the tutorial, some stuff happened and I kind of improv'd and it was funny. It made myself laugh. And I started getting comments too saying that was a funny part when you did that, when you were peeking behind the screen because the screen was blocking you and you kept going. Most people would have just stopped and I just kept going. And it was just a funny situation. But what I liked about it was it brought the humanity to the technology, right? We're all people out here trying to do our thing, trying to use these tools that are confusing sometimes don't work as seen here. And we just have to manage and have sort of a bit of a sense of humor about this whole tech space, or else we're going to go crazy because, stuff doesn't work and it's hard to learn. And so it was just one of those moments where it kind of stepped out of the whole, this is a tutorial where I'm teaching something to, okay, this is a situation where I'm having some issues and I'm trying to teach you, but this is how it goes. So this is the world of technology. So I enjoy that video.
Nice. Chantel, it's so funny. So she's joking that maybe I'll get paid next month because sometimes it's 2 or 3 months for the AdSense to add up over $100. So hopefully I'll get paid next month because of that. But Pixelpia had a follow-up on this. Said, do you have any examples of a written transcript or any written materials or downloadables, maybe pertaining to your advice on tutorials, how to make tutorials better?
But I have a couple of videos I did. One of my first videos was actually about making educational videos and sort of like the 4 pillars of good educational videos.
Ooh.
I used to have a download for that way back in the day when I was all into trying to build a mailing list and having,
Do you have one?
lead magnets and all that stuff back in the day. No, I don't.
Which was a
Sorry.
Wednesday. Oh my
No,
gosh, no.
it was
Mine
like
is an abandoned email list.
2016.
Yeah, I think mine
me
was like
too.
2018. I think I have 500 people on the email list.
Yeah.
And if I ever tried to email, they would all just...
Oh yeah, no.
Maybe I should, just for funsies.
Hey everybody, remember me?
Hey everyone, remember?
Spam, delete,
delete,
spam.
delete. That's
This is
fine.
spam.
Because
Yeah,
it's
so
on a free account.
I used to, but if you catch that video on my channel, it kind of just explains. And I have a couple of videos like that. I actually have a whole live stream I did. I don't even know if it's still up or not.
If you send me the
where I
link for
talk
it, I'll
about it.
throw them in the description
let me
and then
go.
put it as a pinned comment and,
All right.
for later.
Vamp
Oh, we're vamping.
while I find these things.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Shelly.
So I
Entertain the
do want
people.
to talk about something that you did mention, and that is the fact that a tutorial-based channel is sometimes one of the easiest ways to get started on YouTube. And he alluded to that earlier, and it's so true because as opposed to something that is more personality-based or anything of that nature, you can really take something that you know well And then you can take it and just break it down into teachable Flintstone vitamin sections so that if you feel comfortable teaching one skill, then you can share that out with the world. And it doesn't have to then be like this big opinion. It's just, here's how I learned how to do something. Here's how you can do it too. And it's passing off this knowledge, because I feel like a lot of people have a problem getting onto YouTube because they don't want to be seen as necessarily this expert and who am I, but it's more of a teachable moment of, I learned this thing, you can learn this thing too. It has been a really easy way for a lot of people to get started. So Marcus is saying something here. A mailing list is your insurance policy, but don't rely on the platform. And this is so true. When things happened like with Patreon, when things happened with YouTube, and if you were that children's channel who had all of their subscribers not be able to communicate anymore, the fact if they had a email list so they could go out and still communicate with them would have been huge. I don't know if they had one, how big it was, how much of their audience was on it, but things like that absolutely can help. And that audience, a lot of the time, if they have downloaded something from you, if they might have a higher likelihood of closing and actually getting like an open wallet type of situation to buy something from you, because they've already trusted you once enough to give you something else, which was their information. So how did I do? Did I vamp it up enough?
That was very good. That was excellent. Thank you for filling in there.
Yeah, no problem.
I did get the links. Where should I put them?
You can put them in chat, and then...
Oh, can I? Okay.
Yeah. And then I can also put that in the description too. And I'll use it as a pinned comment along with your channel.
Choose. Okay.
So do you see yourself kind of sticking with the tutorial-based channel for, I don't know, do you have any kind of time frame or plan for how long you want to be making tutorials?
Ever. You know, this is the other thinking that I had to get around. I can't. I'll have to go to the YouTube channel page to the chat there, right? To put it in.
I think so.
Put in the links. Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the other thinking I had to change was, again, not defining my channel by my content, but defining it by what I bring, the core value, right? You hear about this, but what's your unique selling proposition? What's the core value of your product? And the core value is, people tell me I'm, a good teacher. So, which means, at least when teaching technology, so that means I can teach other technology, right? Not just Mac stuff, not even just video stuff. Maybe I teach other technology. Maybe I branch out into teaching, who knows, iPhone stuff, home, electronics, home stuff. There's possibilities, right? The common thread is me and my teaching style. And so I can apply that to different things. So when I started thinking that way with the core value, it's like, wait a second, there's lots of things I can do. Right now, I'm sitting in this spot. It's kind of nice. I've got people approaching me already saying, can you do some Final Cut Pro tutorials? Can you do some? It's like, well, yeah, sure. I mean, maybe OBS. Yeah, maybe. I'm kind of grooving right now with this stuff, but I may expand into that stuff as well.
I do find that sometimes as your audience grows and hopefully grows with you and says, hey, you're so good at this, can we expand your realm of things that you talk about? And when that happens, are you someone who's thinking, hey, I'm going to stick it on the same YouTube channel? Am I going to break out into another YouTube channel that would be iPhone magic or something? Or would you just kind of stick it on the same channel and kind of expand with what you have?
We're going to talk about second channels? Do we want to go into that?
Fourth and fifth and sixth? I'm
okay. So I started another channel because I was in that place of, I'm more than this. And I tried to do different stuff on the Mac Video Magic channel. It just didn't, people were like, what's this stuff? I'm here for this. What is this? And there was sort of a subset of my audience that liked it, but not a lot. So I thought I should probably start a new channel for this. So I started another channel called Pushing Pixels, which was to be more about talking about YouTube strategy and video production in general, stuff like that. That's the one problem. It wasn't very defined. But starting a new channel on YouTube right now, it's really tough. It's really tough to get traction. It's harder than when I started back, 6, 7 years ago.
I'm going to pause
So
you right there. I'm going to let you continue, but I want to say something right now for anyone out there who has been sitting on the fence for years and years and years about starting a YouTube channel. You can't go back 6 years in time and start one, but you can start one now because it's not going to get easier. While the mechanics of starting a YouTube channel have gotten easier, like you don't need fancy equipment, you can use your phone. The thing is, you have to have those at bats. You have to try some stuff. You have to experiment. You have to find out what's going to work for you. And it's never going to happen for you unless you actually get your butt off the couch or wherever it is and you finally hit publish on a YouTube video. And so many people want to spout off all these things that you could be doing, but they've never made a video. They've never uploaded once. And they're saying all these things. They're saying a lot of things that are probably antiquated in its nature too, because those things don't apply anymore. Like, oh, tags matter a lot. You should spend 2 hours researching them, when we know that that's not the truth anymore. And so there's one thing where it's theory. There's one thing where it's actually in practice and execution. But like you just said, it is harder than ever, yet also simpler than ever to start a YouTube channel. So you got to start now. But anyways,
amen.
continue.
Amen. No, amen. Exactly. There's a lot of advice. And I use my community tab for my thoughts, random thoughts about, the YouTube experience. And it's so easy to get caught up with all the strategy and the tactics and all the different things. But if you haven't made any videos, it's all useless.
It's like great SEO will never save 0 videos.
0 videos. Listen, the bare minimum of any kind of success or traction on YouTube, the bare minimum is you got to be publishing videos. That's what you got to be doing. And then you build on top of that, publishing consistently, right? And you start doing that, then you can start getting to strategy and tactics. But if you have nothing to work with, it's the molecule, right? The base molecule of YouTube success is making and posting videos.
Yeah.
And so I
find it funny when they're like, how do I get a brand deal? And you go to their channel and they did one video 3 years ago. And you're like, who are you influencing to buy anything from any brand? Like, that's not how that works.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? But it's hard. It's difficult, right? It's hard. I had a post the other day saying that, you don't underestimate the power of momentum in creative work, meaning it takes a lot of energy and willpower to overcome the initial inertia. Putting things that are at rest into motion takes a lot of energy, good old middle school physics.
Yep. Things in motion stay in motion.
Once you do, it's less energy to keep it going. But you gotta do it. You gotta start.
And I think it's hard when you start and stop and start and stop, because it takes more energy to do it again.
Yeah. And I'm no poster boy for consistency at all. I'm gone for like 3 months, come back, do a few videos, and it's something I work on. And I think having done that whole discussion about committing to the brand and the channel now, it's way easier to be committed. I said to my wife today, I was working in the editing away, and I said, I feel like I'm working at the TV station again. Like I feel like I'm going in and working. Right. And I was having that feeling in a long time. I don't feel like I'm grasping and struggling. And I feel like I'm at work making my content for Mac Video Magic. It was such a mindset shift that actually made me way more productive.
I remember hearing a story about Eminem and being in the studio, and he was having someone come through and collaborate with him. And he said, swing by, I'm at the studio. And so this guy decides to get there at like 5:30, something like that. And they're like, okay, yeah, where is he? And they're like, oh, he left at 5, because he starts at 8, he leaves at 5. It was like a job. He's like, I show up every day, I do my hours, and then I pick up my kids from school or whatever else it is. And he treated music creation as a job. Like as a 9-to-5 type job. He's like, I show up and I put in the reps, and a lot of people feel like, oh, once I become a full-time content creator, I can have this freedom to do all I want. And they end up being more lackadaisical. And I've said all the time, I actually put out more videos when I was working corporate, and like when I was working at a big, type of job in tech, because I was very meticulous about my time and my planning. And when I then had all of this time on my hands, it was, I'll just get to it tomorrow. I'll get to it later. And I wasn't as regimented about it. And then even though I had time to make videos, somehow I found myself every week then being like, oh, I missed an upload. How did that happen? I ran out of time. And I'm like, I never had this same type of issue when I was working a 9 to 5. How is that? Like, so sometimes you do have to treat it like a job, because it is a job. And that means continual education too.
Exactly. And it's creating a habit. It really is. You know, you talk to writers, and a lot of big advice they give you is you got to write every day. Even if you don't feel inspired, you don't feel an idea, you get up, you write. It may not be the best stuff you've ever written, but you're writing. And it's building that habit. And it's the same with any kind of creative work, right? You build that habit, it doesn't feel like such an effort when you get to it. You almost feel like, oh, well, it's time to, you know, it's almost built into your system. Well, it's time to write that script for next week's video. You know, now it's time to shoot. And you get into the habit, and it makes it a lot easier to create.
I think that's true. I think absolutely everyone sometimes is waiting for inspiration, and sometimes inspiration just comes when you're just putting in the grind time.
Yeah, or you find it in other little places. I'm a big believer in finding joy and inspiration in the process, finding the little moments of joy. It's like, oh, hey, that camera angle is pretty cool that I made there, or oh, my lighting looks pretty good today.
Continuous improvement, right? You get excited about things like that.
Exactly.
Okay, so as we are over time now, I want to make sure to give you any time in particular to talk about any specific topic that you want to talk about, or advice you want to give, or however you want to close out. You let the people know.
Let the people know.
Let the people know.
A lot of what I've said, you know, I listen to a lot of fellow creators, and I see a lot of the same concerns and frustrations, and I've experienced them. I've gone through the journey, and I'm not fully reformed or anything. I still struggle, but at least I think I've changed my mindset to a foundation that helps me get through those tough parts. And the biggest piece of advice is keep moving, keep making. And not every video, trust me, is going to be a hit. You're going to put some out and you think, this is going to be a great one. That happened to me last week. Oh, this is going to be great. Everyone's been wanting this video. And it's like crickets.
Like, oh boy. It's the worst. I'm like,
and then
you
I
guys
put
asked
one
for
out.
this.
Yeah. And then I put one out. I was like, just off the top of my head, here you go. And then it just takes off. It's like, so you can't concern yourself with that. Yes. You look at the analytics, you try to understand your audience, but at a certain point, there are forces outside of your control that determine, you know, the traction of that video. But you have to make the video. You have to put it out. You got to keep putting out the content, keep creating, and don't compare yourself to other creators, again, who are a different part of the journey. Concentrate on your journey and to continue to grow and improve. That one was worth a super chat.
Your advice was so good that it garnered you one more.
Closing it out strong.
Absolutely. There's no better way to go out. So we'll do this. We'll say goodbye to the audience, and then you hang out, and I'll say goodbye to you here behind the scenes here. And just let me find a song for us.
A song for us. Marcus Schaub. One more. Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you, Marcus. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We'll see you next Thursday. Well, I will. If Michael, maybe we'll be here too. We'll see. Bye, everyone. I changed my mind. No, I changed my mind again. I really need to label these better.
What's happening?
It's a slow burn. It just comes and then hits you right between the eyes. Get the drums. Oh, shoot. I'll say goodbye too soon. Bye, everyone.